Bob Gallagher, the mayor of the city of Bettendorf, Iowa. Today is Friday, November 15th, 2024. Welcome to my office here at City Hall. Today we're joined by our finance director, Jason Schadt. Jason, welcome to the message.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're glad that you're here. We're going to talk all things finance right now because we just completed a 3-day strategic planning retreat, and we do that each and every year, and we get a plan for what we want to see the city do over the next year, 5 and 10 years, and that plan gets sent to department heads, but the plan has to be funded. So that's where Jason comes in, and we're just starting the budget process so that the council can learn how you think we're going to do in terms of revenue and what you think the state might do in their legislative session, and then what of those priorities and policies we might be able to fund and those we may not. So we have that discussion as part of budgeting. So let's talk a little bit about the city of Bettendorf's budget, generally speaking. Tell the folks at home what we're looking at and how we go through this process.
Yeah, so the fiscal year runs from July 1 to June 30th of each year. But we begin planning for that July 1 way back in October, really. And that's when council sets those goals. And we begin at the staff level to try to put those into action through the budget. Obviously, there's trade-offs in any budgeting process.
Absolutely.
We've challenged the department heads to start putting their budgets together now. We'll bring that to council probably after the first of the year, January, February. And council and the mayor will wrestle with those trade-offs, and we'll eventually adopt a budget by the end of April to then start July 1.
Yeah, and those trade-offs come in the form of, we've got lots of streets that we'd like to do. We'd like to revamp a ton of streets for you, and we've got new areas of growth where we need to be widening streets. But if we can't widen Middle Road this year, or Devil's Glen next, or Greenbrier gets redone the year after, it's all a balance, and we have kind of a target for what we spend on streets, and then in each department there may be a need for new technology or a new person based on those goals that we gave them. So if we said to Parks and Rec, we want to see more of something, how is that going to get done? Does that need a person? Does that need a computer program? All of those trade-offs are what we're talking about. And it's a relatively large budget. Tell the folks at home the size of the budget and the kinds of things you all do in finance.
Yeah, so in most years, the city's budget is right around $100 million. A huge portion of that is that capital budget that you talk about, funding streets and infrastructure, things of that nature. But really the bulk of our operating budget is people. And you know, every dollar spent, every dollar received by the city flows through the finance department. We've got a team of about 15 hardworking professionals that do that work every year. When the Family Museum buys art supplies, that payment comes from finance. When we pay a police officer for his 2 weeks of work through payroll, that's a finance function. We do about 15,000 payments a year for goods and services.
That's a lot.
We do about 12,000 payroll checks every year and 600 W-2s. With full and part-time people.
Sure.
We process 72,000 utility bills for about 15,000 utility accounts every year. So the workload is heavy, and then we're also in charge of IT and finance. So the IT department handles 400 user accounts, 500 PCs, hundreds of pieces of equipment and software, and handles our network and cybersecurity. So it's a pretty busy office, a full plate for a small team. But I think, to your point, Mayor, we continue to stay lean by leveraging technology, and you and the council have been very supportive of that effort over the last couple of years.
Let's talk about that a little bit, because we had an operating system that you're changing over. Tell the folks how long we had the old one, what the new one might do, and what kind of efficiencies we might expect.
Right. I'm a little embarrassed to say that we replaced a 32-year-old financial system.
We're lean.
That's
we kept it until the wheels fell off.
We got every dollar out of that purchase. We went live with NetSuite for Government in June. This is a full-fledged modern financial system.
Very robust.
We will take advantage of automation and automated workflows to really add efficiency to not only finance processes, but processes throughout the city.
Yep, every department.
Yeah.
all running on kind of different systems. This is really a great thing, and we ought to be real proud of the efficiencies we're creating here at City Hall. Talk a little bit about any changes the folks at home might see, because they're going to get sewer bills and they're going to have ways to communicate back and forth, and it's going to be new.
It is. In the coming months, we'll also roll out some new utility billing solutions, which will include some modern payment options for customers and residents. Really,
I don't have to drive down here and put a little box in it anymore?
well, you can. We'll always take your money. But we do want to offer, modern payment options. Things like Apple Pay, Venmo, things like that will be a part of this new payment solution. Again, that's not in the can just yet. That'll be a couple months out, but just another one of those tools that we're working through to make the customer experience better for all the residents.
I think that's important, whether it's you're signing up for a program at the library or a parks program, something to do at the museum. You're going to see some changes and some modernization of the way we efficiently or more efficiently continue to run the city. We've been recognized, and I want you to brag a little bit. I know it's not the thing that you typically do, but we've been recognized a bunch of different times in a bunch of different ways, especially in the finance department, for the great work that they do. And I think that's very important for you to hear, because you entrust the city with your payments. You entrust the city to make sure that we balance the budget. You entrust the city to keep your tax levy as low as we possibly can, to do the things that you're asking us to do. So Jason, tell us about some of those recent awards and the new one from GFOA.
Yeah, so we have the special designation of a GFOA Triple Crown winner. That's the designation we get when we hold all 3 GFOA awards.
What's GFOA?
The Government Finance Officers Association. For 33 years, we've been awarded their Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. That's for our annual financial report. It's probably a pretty boring looking document to many out there, but it's really the financial story for a fiscal year. Again, received that one for 33 consecutive years. For 30 consecutive years, we've received their Distinguished Budget Presentation Award. That's an award for our budget book, which tells folks what we're going to do for the next year. And then recently, for the past 2 years, we've been recognized with the Award for Outstanding Achievement in Popular Annual Financial Reporting, which is a whole lot of words just to say we put together a report that's supposed to be easily understandable, easily accessible to even those that don't maybe have a public finance background.
Very consumable information the way that the folks at home would like to receive it.
Exactly. And I think, these GFOA awards aren't necessarily recognizing us for our financial position or our financial performance, but they're recognizing us for how we tell that financial story to the public, which I think we have a pretty good story to tell. So
we do.
Pretty proud of those, and I would direct everyone to visit the website. All 3 documents are there, waiting for your review.
Fantastic. And speaking of that story, we try very hard to do more with less than any other city in Iowa. And I always kind of, pushed you a little bit. I want to be the lowest general fund levy in the state, and we're always like 1 or 2. So as we go through the budget season, we're always watching out for your dollars and how they're being spent. Because if we can continue to be efficient and do more with less than any other city in Iowa, that's for you to be proud of. That's great. And that's a good reason to want to stay here in Bettendorf, where your taxes are lower than anywhere else in this community and you get better services. So thank you so much for joining us. Great stuff happening in finance, and it happens year-round. I'm glad you got a chance to take a glimpse into our finance department with us today. Have a great weekend.